Everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Discovery Show TDS TV on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook and YouTube, the name is The Discovery Show TDS TV. On Instagram and on Twitter, it is at The Discovery Show _TDS TV. My name is Precious Adadidiodu. I am your host, ably supported by the executive producer, Mr. James Kwabena Opon. So basically, this show seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of politics, religion, academia, healthcare, business, anything you can think of. And we seek to learn from their successes, their challenges, and the journeys they have traveled so that we can learn from them and also attain greater height. Today is another edition. Let me gently remind you that this show is ably produced by sponsored by Henbeck Agency. Henbeck Agency. Henbeck is spelled Henbeck. I'll give you further details on that later. But I'm excited to share with you that last 2 weeks I had a very exciting interview, and today is another very exciting interview. I'm also interviewing another person who is one of my favorite people on earth as well. I'm privileged to be speaking to Mr. Samuel Akyirem, who is a PhD student at Yale University. You're welcome, Akyirem.
Thank you, Precious.
Great. How do you feel to be here finally?
Yeah, I think this is the first time I'm having such conversation with anyone online. So I'm a bit nervous, but I believe we'll go through it successfully. Yeah.
Great. I'm very happy to have you here finally. I mean, it's been a long chat, for so many months, but happy to know that today you are also looking forward to this interview. So tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Mr. Samuel Akyirem?
All right, thank you, Precious. But before I begin, I believe you ought to introduce yourself well. So you are Precious, you are a lecturer at the University of Huddersfield. Yes, I just want to clear that out of the way. And I am Samuel Akyirem. I did my basic education at Adventist Junior High School as a Mekom, and then went to Prempeh College. Then from there to KNUST. Then I moved on to King's College London for my master's, and now I'm here doing my PhD. I grew up in Krofrom in Kumasi, and later on moved to Tabre, which is one of the biggest towns in Ashanti region. And yeah, so that's basically it. I believe we'll go into the details as we move on with the interview.
Amazing. So I'm sure we can readily capture the whole interview as from Tabre to Connecticut. I'm in Yale University. What do you think?
yeah, perhaps. Yeah, you can put it that way. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So tell us, what were your experiences in Prempeh College especially? I know Prempeh people are very much proud. Of course, everyone is proud of their secondary education, but I mean, you pride yourselves, you call yourselves seniors and all that everywhere. So how was your experience in Prempeh? What are some of the memorable times?
Yeah, so as you well know, Prempeh College is the best school, the best high school in Ghana at the moment. And definitely the best school in Ashanti region. And we call ourselves seniors because, every student in Prempeh College, whether you are in first year or final year, you are considered a senior because you definitely did well in your BC. That is the assumption, and it is generally true for all Prempeh College students. We are all basically sharks. So what happened in Prempeh College was that I think Prempeh College was one. It was during this period that I kind of socialized a bit more. So I have most of my friends and all that. Coming from Prempeh College. And it was during that time that, I got challenged in terms of academics and, other stuff. Yeah, so basically Brentford College was fun, and it provided, the school provided the kind of academic environment that stimulates hard work and scholarship. Yeah.
Great. I mean, one thing that I know very much has to do with you being part of the National Science and Maths quiz. I mean, a lot of people know you for that. How was it? How was your experience?
Yeah, so in Brentford College, we have a standard National Science and Maths quiz team, which usually comprises the top students in each of the 5 science classes. During my time, we had 5 science classes. So we select the top 3 or maybe 4 students from each class, and then we undergo rigorous training. Yeah, and then we end up selecting like the best 3 to contest on behalf of the school. So we had the bigger National Science and Maths quiz team, which I believe was put together in the 2nd year of school. And we assigned special rooms where we got training from like special training and special tutorials from the science and maths teachers in the school. And then we had a number of mock quizzes, yeah, which helped prepare us and shape us for the national contest. Yes, so in a nutshell, I mean, Brentford College has always been known for the National Science and Maths quiz and all that. So it was a great privilege to be part of the team and to work with the likes of Dr. Boachiansa, who is now a chemical engineer, and other great minds like Biggie Small and other people. Yeah, so we worked together. We did a lot of rehearsals. Unfortunately, the main quiz did not go, in our favor. It did not go as planned. But I think the things we learned and the experiences we had with the contest stayed with us. So even though we lost the contest, the experiences stayed with us, and they've been helpful for the other aspects of our lives. Yeah.
Fantastic. Viewers, you are reminded again that you are watching the Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube. This is a show that seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of academia, politics, religion, anything you can think of. And basically, we seek to glean from their experiences so that we can also rise based on the things they have gone through. And we are speaking to Mr. Samuel Akyirem, who is one of my best people on earth as well. And I've known Akyirem for almost 11 years. Akyirem is a PhD student at Yale University, and as he said, from Taberry to Connecticut, USA. So thank you very much, Akyirem, for sitting with us. And obviously, where you ended, that was what I was going to ask you. Do you think that people who are actually recruited as part of the National Science and Maths quiz team, they have a competitive advantage, or does the quiz preparatory process help them to do much better at the end of, let's say, their WASI and all that? And again, do you think, I just want you to tie that with me, for me, do you think the National Science and Maths quiz is more theoretical? Does it really help people to go beyond just the theory and put it into practice when the need arises, or it's just about learning by rote? Can we improve it in any particular way?
Okay, thank you, Precious. So the National Science and Maths quiz usually draw from the best of the best, in terms of the students in every school. So it's safe to imagine that anyone who participates in the contest is generally good, in science and maths, right? So the contest usually has very little to add to that in terms of, the person's understanding of basic science and maths principles. But what it does to help the students is for you to think rapidly on your feet, right? And then to be able to apply certain math or science principles to solve some problems. Now, when I say to solve some problems, it's not necessarily to invent some new things or, anything per se, but then you can draw from math principles to solve questions in chemistry or physics, or rely on physics principles. So that is what I feel the science and math quiz is all about. With regards to being advantageous when it comes to your performance in the WASI exams, I do not think it really helps. If for anything at all, it may affect you in terms of your core subjects. So the science and math quiz is mostly about chemistry, physics, biology, and mathematics, elective mathematics. So if you are not careful and you pay so much attention on the elective subjects, it may be at the detriment of the core subjects like social studies and maybe English language. But like I said, students that participate in the National Science and Maths quiz are generally good students. So that shouldn't be a problem. The Science and Maths quiz is not different from the generality of our educational curriculum, in science and maths. So we shouldn't expect that to be different. Our education in science and maths at the high school level is almost always about theory, right? The science and maths quiz cannot test anything different from that. Now, when you talk about being practical, asking practical questions, it has to do with the availability of resources. Okay, you can't ask science and math quiz. You go to high school for 3 years, you learn about mass spectrometer. You've never seen mass spectrometer before. How can you be tested on that? When you are participating in a quiz. So for me, I don't think the problem is with the quiz. The problem is with our curriculum and the availability of resources. Once we fix that, we should be able to fix the science and math quiz. And just to add to it, there's nothing wrong with understanding theory of science, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You need that, okay, in order to build on, to apply, on in certain areas. So you see that science students in Ghana, when they move to other jurisdictions where you have a lot of resources, they are able to excel, right? So it's not a problem with them not being able to apply what they learn on. It's just the availability of resources. We don't have the things you can practice with, and so you don't practice with it. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Akyirem. I'm sure since you've been able to explain what senior is, when we talk about senior and premper, what it means. I mean, almost everybody knows you to be called Reptile. How did you get that name? That
nickname. Okay, so I got that name. I don't even know how I got. Okay, I think there was this biology teacher, the late Mr. Jamina, Premper College. So I think in one class, I was dozing off, right, in a class, and he asked me to, stand up and go to the back of the class and stand there, till I snap out of the sleep. So I think while standing there, I was still sleeping. I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe I was too tired or something. So I was still sleeping, and I think we're learning about reptilia and those phylum and those classes, those biology stuff. And I think where he asked for an example of a reptile. Okay. And because I was dozing off and all that, like someone turned and pointed to me, and then okay. All of a sudden that name stuck. Yeah. So amazing.
it looks like an unimportant question, but for those of us who have known you to be called reptile, we now understand the real meaning. So thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Akyirem, PhD student at Yale University. We are very much proud of you. Viewers, thank you very much for joining us. And as said earlier, this show is proudly sponsored by Henbeck Agency. Henbeck Agency. Henbeck is spelled Henbeck, Henbeck Agency. So if you need any footwear, clothes, if you need watches, bags, and books, look no further than Henbeck Agency. Wherever you want these items shipped to you, either you buying them and you want them to arrange and ship them to you, or you want them to buy very beautiful ones and send them to you wherever you are across the world, they will do a very wonderful job for you. You can contact them on +233 546 022 952. I take that again, +233 546 022 952, or just visit their Facebook page, Henbeck Travel Agency, Henbeck Travel Agency, or you can even send them an email, henbecktravels@gmail.com. They are the proud sponsors of this program. So, Akyirem, from Prempeh College, then you got into KNUST. Were your expectations met? Of course, everyone around you knows that you definitely wanted to get into medical school. What happened? How did you really go through the process and complete your nursing degree? Was it a struggle, or you did that effortlessly?
Yes, thank you. So I never imagined that, I'll be a nurse, right? Yeah, never imagined. I remember when I was filling the KNUST form, my friend James Eduamankwa, I remember he asked me to choose electrical engineering, and I said, oh, no, I don't like engineering. So I just put nursing there, right? It was like a joke. So I did not really plan to do nursing. It was like a joke. Probably I should have considered electrical engineering, right? Because I feel that is what my mind, really gravitates towards. But I chose nursing. And when the admission came and I had nursing, it was like a dream. Yeah, it was like a dream. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes, but the other option was to write an deck, because it was English that I couldn't get A in English. So maybe I should write some deck and replace English, the grade I had for English. So that would mean staying home for another year. And I didn't think it was the best option at that time. So I just decided to just move on with it and do the nursing. So I did the nursing. I went to nursing school, and as you well know, after the first year, I tried to change. I was given the assurance that I'll be accepted to medical school. Then Professor Danso, who was then the dean of the medical school, kind of changed his mind. So I just had to continue with the nursing. It was difficult at first. It was difficult because I think a lot of people were even more disappointed in me than I was in myself. So like you meet someone, oh, what are you doing next? Okay, yeah, but you could see the disappointment in some people's face when they hear that Akyirem is doing this and Akyirem is doing this, but I think at some point I just accepted that well, this is what I will do. I will continue with it and do it the best I can, like do the best I can in this profession to help advance the nursing, to help advance nursing as a professional and as an academic discipline. So that was my choice. And I think at some point I heard someone say that use these words, brighten the corner where you are. I think that resonated with me, and I just decided to just be in my corner and brighten there and do the best I can. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I think those who know you, I mean, last 2 weeks I really shared a similar one here, but for those of us who know this, I mean, we are quite familiar with the story, but a lot of people may not have known that. Just a second.
Life is a journey and sometimes can be a lonely road. When friends and loved ones forsake you, all you got to do is to be bold. I knew it years ago that those who undermine me had their minds undermined, but I never mind. They should keep on undermining because I'm a real good. I must undergo mining. Talking of mining, it leads to discovery. We mine to discover, we learn to discover, we observe to discover. Friends can uncover you at the same time discover you. But I don't want to discover you, I would rather discover more, so I go on the internet and I listen to words of wisdom and intellect. Availability of information, interviews of great men and women all over the diaspora and all nations. Creativity at its best, dexterity of research, no need to go through any formal education. I introduce you to the Discovery Show. Let your friends and your family know the struggles before the blow, their highs and their lows. Pay attention to this show, it will make you feel at ease. The Discovery Show on YouTube got the steez. Now Perry, the presenter, please pose for the camera. I want to hear you say cheese. We are airborne like a flu. I want to hear you sneeze. True. The Discovery Show is live on air, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. See ya. TDS TV, Yearn to learn. Host, Perry Precious. Executive producer, James.
Thank you very much for sticking and staying with us here on the Discovery Show, TDS TV, on Facebook and on YouTube, and on Instagram and on Twitter. It is at the Discovery Show _TDS TV. Just to remind you that we are speaking to Mr. Samuel Akyirem, who is a PhD student at Yale University, and he shared his life with us so far, a very beautiful one, of course. Akyirem, so of course now you've crossed the barrier, you are done with your undergrad and all that. Myself, at least I can speak for you, myself, and Irene Bosman. We really went through a lot of challenging moments, applying here and there, trying to further studies and all that. When did your breakthrough come? I mean, and how did that happen?
Okay. Yes. So after I completed Yale University, nursing education in Ghana is quite maybe frustrating, if you like, because when you finish school, it takes you like 2 years, before you complete your national service or your rotation, which is very frustrating and waste of time. So we had to go through that. So from 2014 to 2016, that was when I finished my rotation. And then I wanted to further my education, but man was broke, was really broke. And buying data for, internet and application and all those things, it wasn't really easy. So I postponed it. I remember trying to start the application for Commonwealth scholarship, but never submitted because, at some point I felt frustrated, so I stopped. And then in 2017, I didn't try. I remember you telling me to, apply, but I just didn't try because then I'd gotten a job working in a nursing school. So I decided to just work for a while and get some money and then use that for the application stuff. So in 2018, that was when I actually submitted application for master's and for Commonwealth scholarship. So I remember submitting 5 applications and gotten rejected for 4 of them. And for the last one, I was put on a waiting list. And that is even more torturous than, being denied outright, because then if you are put on a waiting list, you have to wait for like 3 months or so before you know your fate. And then in 2019, so in 2018, that was when I wrote the IELTS, that's the English test. And then in 2019, I applied again this time around, I think I applied for 7 or 8 schools for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, and then got 2 scholarship offers, and I was put on reserve for 2 other scholarships. And I think I got, I applied for London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine for a distance learning program in infectious disease. And I think I was accepted for that too. So I decided to choose King's College London because that was my first option. They were offering a program in clinical research. That is a Master of Research program in clinical research, which, you know, sounded cool and appealing. I really did not know what it entailed. I knew it was going to be research, but I didn't know much about it. Yeah, so that was my journey, you know, applying for Commonwealth scholarship and, you know, for master's, you know, application and all that. I did not know of any other scholarship, to be honest. I only knew of Commonwealth. So that was the only scholarship I was applying for. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sami. And where you ended, I mean, I just want to say that it's because whilst we were in school, I remember about 3 of our lecturers had gone through the process. So they kept mentioning that to us. So right from school, we had that on top of our head that this is the scholarship we need to apply for. And that's one of the main reasons for this particular program, the Discovery Show. We believe that with some sort of information, you may be well guided and I mean, probably land where you need to be. So viewers, thank you very much for joining us. We hope that as we are going on with all these interviews, you pick things from the different guests who appear on the show so that we can all rise together. Thank you very much, Sami. So obviously, I mean, you've come here, King's College, you came through Commonwealth. Of course, it's important to give them some bit of shout out. Are you taking that opportunity to also, I mean, educate people who may be hearing Commonwealth applications for the first time in case they want to apply? What is it about? If you can take about 5 minutes to educate people on that.
All right, so there are 2 types of Commonwealth scholarship for master students. So the first one is the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, which you apply directly to the school. Then the school will do the selection and submit your name for the scholarship. And then there is the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, which you have to go through the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. So I applied for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, so I can speak to that. The Commonwealth Scholarship, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, I think it opens every year around February. So this year cycle has ended for 2022. It will open around February-ish or March, thereabouts. And when it opens, the only thing you need to do is to look on their website and see the courses that are eligible. So once you find the course you are interested in, you apply for admission, and then you follow the process to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship. So you have to submit 2 separate applications, one for the school and one for the scholarship. The key thing about the scholarship, and even for, you know, application in the UK, is that you need to have IELTS, right? You don't really need to. It's not a hard requirement. It's kind of soft requirement, right? So there are a lot of schools that insist on you having an English proficiency certificate. There are a number of schools that do not require that. Precious, you did not write IELTS, but you had a scholarship. But for me, I feel it's a lot of hard work corresponding with the university, asking them, do you accept this? You don't accept this? You accept? It's so much hard work, you know, compared to just writing the exams. The exams is just English text. So I think now it's around 6,700 cedis. So once you write that, then you know that you qualify to apply for every university in the UK. So that kind of reduces your burden when you're applying. You don't need to be asking questions here and there for other stuff. So you need to do that. And once you have that, you need to get references, reference letters from your university. Either you get email addresses of lecturers who can submit references on your behalf, or maybe your boss at work, who can submit reference on your behalf. Once you have that, you need resilience. Okay, so this is another requirement which is not on the website. Okay, you need resilience. If you don't have resilience, you will start the application and you will not submit it because there is a lot of writing involved. You need to write essays, you need to justify why you deserve the scholarship. I think last or this year, they were asked to write about 8 essays. Precious, you can correct me if I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
major, but under some of them, they are subdivisions. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you are required to write a lot of the essays. Most of the essays, the questions that are asked, can be found on their website. So my advice is that you check their website right now because the application will open next year, February. So you check the website right now and know the kind of essays that they expect from you and start writing them now. The essay should be written by you and it should be very focused. One mistake I did in 2018. So in 2018, when I was rejected by 4 of the schools and placed on reserve for the other school, I emailed one of the school and asked them what went wrong with my application. And they told me that I did not demonstrate, adequate understanding of the issues, the health issues in my country. That was what they told me. So going forward, if you are applying, you should center your application on one particular health problem. If you are a health student, you should find a particular health problem in your locality and then center all your essays around them, so that you can bring out a deeper and more insightful essay. So for instance, if I'm writing an essay and, give a vague or mention a vague objective like, oh, I want to improve the health system in Ghana, right? It doesn't make sense. It's too vague, right? It's not specific enough. So you have to be specific, and you can do that if you identify a single health problem that you feel has not been resolved, and then center all your essays around them. Yeah, so that is my advice.
Thank you very much, Reptile, for the great advice you've given us. Really appreciate it. So, now you've gone through that through Commonwealth scholarship. You did mention resilience, and that's something I really want to. I'm struck by that word that you use. It just occurred to me that I remember prior to your completion of your master's, I had visited you where you stay. And when you were done, you came to my place, and I've been on phone. We had some of these conversations that, Charlie, why don't you try and apply here, either to work or to continue with the PhD? But you were very clear that you need to go back to Ghana, start the process to go to US, and you were very clear about that. Will you call that overconfidence? Was it a matter of focus, vision? Was it resilience? What was it about? Because you were very clear that this is what you want to do. And truly it came to pass. So what was it about?
Yeah, so I feel the feedback I got from one of the schools, that's I think TDS University, it kind of struck a chord in me and put everything into perspective on how to write essays in general, right? So in a way, I felt confident that once I write an essay and I do my research well, I can get admission in any school I want to get admission, right? Maybe it was overconfidence, but that was what I felt at that time. And in 2019, before moving to the UK for my master's, I spoke with one of my colleagues at Prempeh College, Livingston, who kind of talked to me about the US educational system. And I did my research for the PhD and all that. And I found the US PhD system interesting, right, to me. So I just wanted to go to that. So before starting my master's, I wrote the GRE I prepared for some time and then wrote the GRE before starting. So I had that there. And because I had written the GRE, I had to apply to the US school, right? And so I focused my energy on my top schools, right? 2 top schools, and then channeled my energy and then applied to just these 2 top schools. I did a lot of, research and emailing and background works, before applying. That was why when I was talking to you, remember I told you that I know I'll definitely get offers from one of these schools because I'd done my background work and I was confident, okay, not overconfident, but confident that, by God's grace, if God permits and nothing strange happens, I would definitely going to get an offer from these schools. So the resilience aspect of it, maybe it has to do with, not giving up. That is what I feel the resilience is about, because I have not met anyone, right, who has not been disappointed in life before. Okay, maybe there are people like that, but I've never met anyone. So when you apply and you don't get it, okay, it's natural for you to think that it's your failure in getting it is somewhat reflective of your personal or maybe your intelligence, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be that. Sometimes the application pool is too tough and you don't get it. It's normal, right? But your ability to understand this and then push forward, that is what I believe is the resilience. You may apply this year and not get it, but you can submit the same application next year and get it. So if you give up this year, then you don't stand any chance at all. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Akyirem. You can call him Reptile. He has just verified that. He's a PhD student at Yale University, and he's a super fantastic gentleman. And we are proud to have you here, Akyirem. This is not with your permission, but I know you wouldn't mind. Just when you spoke about people shouldn't give up and all that, I remember, I know Irene Bosman, for example, has asked here, University of Pennsylvania and Yale, why did you choose Yale? But what I want to really say is that, viewers, this gentleman had offers from both University of Pennsylvania and Yale. Pennsylvania first, but he declined that when Yale came, he went to Yale, which is very much acceptable. But without your permission, I know, you wouldn't mind. What I really want to say is, I remember prior to some of this interview, to both interviews, and this is just to merely illustrate the point, not to boast. We had trial interviews on phone and all that. And then when the interview proper came, your internet messed up everywhere. And then you came back to me as a Charlie. I think I've lost both of them. But some way, somehow, both came in positive. Will you say that is a natural process for people who apply that? Even if you are at the point where you feel you've lost everything, still hold on to that hope or faith. Do you think it is a matter of destiny, or there's some sort of hand working elsewhere that has pushed you through this application and this offer? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. Not everything can be explained, with logic or with cause and effect, stuff. There are a lot of things that are not known. What I believe is that the grace of God is there for everyone, right? And it kind of works in a way that you may not be able to explain, because a lot of people apply, right? A lot of people are interviewed. So, and in selecting candidates, I'm very sure that subjectivity plays a key role. The people who do the selection are human beings. They are influenced by their subjective thinking and all that. So why do they settle on a particular candidate or not? It could be on your achievements, but you should know that all the people that applied to that particular for that particular program have also worked hard, and they've achieved a lot. So definitely, I agree with you that the grace of God plays a role in all this, and for you to be selected, in such competitive programs, it means that something somewhere is working behind the scene, in your favor. But just to add to it, one thing that I got, like a comment I got from one of the panelists, was that, "Oh, Samuel, I know you already. We've talked. We've had an interview before. So don't worry if the network is not good. Just relax, and we'll take it from here." So I got that comment because I had reached out to the advisors already, and we had an informal interview, of some sort, and we have discussed the work I was interested in and all that, and my background and everything. So I think that rapport was also there. So in a way, they had read my, and just to add to it, I had sent my personal statements, right, before, like, to the advisors before even submitting my application. So after, having this kind of informal conversations with them, I drafted my personal statement and then sent to them, "Hey, Robin, if you have time, can you look at my, personal statement for me? This is just a draft. I hope to submit maybe by next week. If you can just look through and make some suggestions." And one comment I got, this is just me sidetracking. One comment I got from the personal statement was that I use this common word, at least a word that is common to me. And a Yale professor marked the word that she doesn't understand this word, right? And I was surprised because this is a word that I've been using. I think the word is disabuse, right? Okay. Disabuse. Okay. Yes, I think I got that word from Felix. Yeah, so disabuse, I use, yes, I use that word in my personal statement somewhere, and the professor highlighted it and commented that she doesn't understand what this word means. So I had to remove it and put clear, because disabuse some people's, minds of some misconceptions they had. So maybe I should just use a simple word, clear. So just as part of this sidetrack, you have to be careful when you are writing your personal statement that you don't try to impress a native English speaker, right? The personal statement is not about you showing your acumen in terms of your English proficiency. No, it's not about that. It's about you telling your story. And I think it's a mistake most people, commit, because when you use big words and they have tons of essays and they are reading and they are not getting the meaning out of your essay, they're definitely not going to favor you, So we should just try and keep it simple when you are writing personal statements. Yes. So, and I'm moving back on track. So the grace of God is usually working in favor for us, and we should understand and acknowledge that as Christians. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Samuel Akyirem. I can say we are very much proud of you, your colleagues, friends, family. We are very much proud of you, and keep going. We are very hopeful that in few years to come, it will be a global name. It will not just be a local name, but it will be a global name. So keep going, keep trusting God, keep pushing, keep putting in the effort. And I think a common conversation we usually have is, you and myself, anytime we talk is, sometimes from hindsight, people think, oh, it was easy, but we know some of the struggles we've gone through, but through it all, keep pushing, and I believe everything will be fine. Thank you very much for sharing generously. Thank you very much, viewers, for sticking and staying. So I'll read some messages. Stephen Adombiri says, Sami, thanks for sharing your experience about how you ended up in nursing. I think the Discovery Show can use this forum to begin to change the narrative about nursing in Ghana and male nurses. let's see how we can educate the public to better understand nursing. Thank you very much. I know you are very passionate about nursing, Stephen Adombiri, and certainly it is an opportunity for us to clear some of these things. We've done that in subsequent interviews, even other areas beyond nursing. So thanks for highlighting this. And Akyirem, of course, that leads me to what I'll ask you next. Do you think we are getting some sort of higher educational qualifications and people trained to higher educational levels in nursing at the moment, especially males?
Yes, thank you. So I think things are changing. Things are definitely, getting better. At least I know people, in my close circle are getting, their masters and their PhDs and all that. So I think things are getting better. Things are moving. We are not there yet, because nursing as an academic discipline is very young, like compared to the natural sciences and, and the pure sciences and all that. It's very young. Even the mother of modern nursing, Nightingale, was born just about 200 years ago. So you should know that nursing is way younger than 200 years, in terms of its discipline. And then when nursing started, it was usually kind of apprenticeship, kind of training and all that. But I think nursing became an academic discipline in the university in the 1930s, which is just some few years ago, just about 100 or less years ago. So it's still young, and we are still trying to develop it, to improve it. I think the number of male nurses who are coming into nursing profession. I worked in a nursing training school, and you see a lot of male nursing students coming in. With each year, the number of male enrollments was increasing. So it's definitely something that is improving. But the society's perception of nurses is fueled by I want to choose my words carefully. It's fueled by, maybe some of their personal experiences at the hospital, how they were treated by some nurses and all that. So I think in the US, in the US, nursing is one of the most respected professions in the US. Okay, it's one of the most respected professions. And of course, lawyers are the least respected, lawyers and politicians. Yeah, but that's just on the lighter note. So we have this kind of respect because we are close to patients, we care for patients, we help them heal. We treat them holistically, right? We don't just look at their, correcting physiological abnormalities, but we also take into consideration their mental, their psychological, their social and other aspects of their health. And so we should be respected, but we need more higher education in nursing, to be able to, kind of command that kind of respect and recognition.
Thank you very much, Akyirem, for your response. Just some few messages. So, of course, Irene asked why you chose Yale over UPenn. If you can just do that in 30 seconds, that would be helpful.
Yes, so I chose Yale because the professor I found there, was doing interesting research in diabetes, and I wanted to work with her. And also, they were giving a much, attractive stipends and family support. Yeah. Okay. So that's no winner. And then, the reputation of the university too is there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Ethel Koko says, I also think when you have prepared yourself adequately, the grace puts the icing on the cake and brings the success. Irene Bosman says, happy day for you, Professor. We bless God for how far you have come. We also have Josephine Abuajimensa says, you did your background work very well. It is not overconfidence, Prof. You are an inspiration. Hey. Janet Jiva says, super proud of you, Akyirem. Anthony Pulamda Gariba says, thanks, Sami and Stephen. Tony is here. Nanajua Ahinampong says, we are proud of you, sir. If we can't boast of being sharks, we can boast that our sir is all the best, sir. Yeah, so those are some of the messages. Ethel Koko again says, now for immigration purpose, IELTS or IELTS is compulsory. And Akyirem Bosman says, why did you choose nursing education or research over clinical practice? Akyirem, please do this in 30 seconds.
Okay, so I may go beyond 30 seconds because I have a bit to say about it.
A minute.
You see,
a minute.
Nursing has, three distinct, ways of looking at it. We have the profession or the practice, we have the education, and we have the research. So I am interested in becoming a nurse scientist, right? Where I see nursing problems and solve it, through research. A lot of people think that you have to be working in clinical practice for years before you can do that. But that is a fallacy. There is this famous woman known as Donna Diaz, right? Donna Diaz is, one of the big names in nursing. She worked in the hospital for just 1 week, okay? For just 1 week, okay? So that is the only experience she got, right? But she has done a lot of things in nursing. So I feel that if you think you have the mental aptitude, if you have the aptitude to do research and to do science stuff in nursing, go for it. If you love the clinical practice, do it. But I prefer the research part more. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. I can't see any more messages at the moment, but of course, I know I'm very conscious that we are almost on the time, so let's do this in a few minutes. Of course, it's a very important part of it, your PhD topic at Yale University. I mean, we had conversations around some of these things and all that, but your PhD topic is around psychological challenges facing patients with diabetes and other chronic diseases in resource-limited settings. And you are prioritizing health disparities and health psychology. What was your motivation for this particular topic for a PhD? And then most importantly, if you can simplify that for us, of course, you are yet to go through the entire process, but what are you looking forward to achieving?
Okay, so diabetes presents some kind of stresses to the patients who are, having the disease. So you can think about the stresses as, physiological, where you have high blood sugar levels, which kind of interfere with your body's nerves and hormonal system, and eventually lead to increased cortisol levels in your bloodstream. And we know that cortisol...
Please break it down for us.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. So what I mean is that physiologically, diabetes increases the cortisol levels in your blood. Cortisol is a stress hormone. So when you have the disease, you have a lot of cortisol and your body is physiologically stressed. The disease also requires a lot of lifestyle modifications, like, adhering to strict dietary regimens and undergoing some physical activities and changing lifestyle, which I consider as behavioral stresses. And they kind of put a stress on you because then your life is turned upside down. Now there are food you have to eat and there are food you don't have to eat. So that kind of burden the patient too. And then the next one is about mental, psychologically. The person has to kind of orientate him or herself to his new condition. Some people live in a state of denial, that they don't have diabetes, even though they have it, but in their mind, they don't want to accept it. So because of that, they don't do the things they are supposed to do as patients. That is there. Some people also go through a lot of depression. There are studies that show that people who have diabetes are at a very high risk of developing depression. So that psychological aspect is there. And the last one is the social aspect of diabetes. So in diabetes, if you listen to the conversation about diabetes on our radio station, it is very clear that people think that when you have diabetes, it means you are irresponsible, right? You did not take care of yourself. You lived anyhow, you ate anyhow. That is why you have diabetes. So socially, people in their minds kind of undervalue you as a person if you have diabetes. And because of that, some people feel a lot of stress, and all these things affect their blood sugar, at the end of the day. All these 4 stresses affect their blood sugar at the end of the day. In Ghana, our focus has been on the physiological management, which the doctors do a lot. They prescribe medications and they give insulin and all that to reduce the blood sugar. Some nurses also give education to patients, which focus on the behavioral aspect of the disease, that is self-management practices and all that, just to help the patients, do the things they are supposed to do to help manage their disease. But the last aspect of it, that the psychological and the social aspect of it, are not really considered much in Ghana. So you have patients going into the consulting room, being seen by doctors, and then how, you tell all your complaints, they write medications for you. No one really has time to ask the patient how he's feeling, how is he kind of, mentally adjusting to their new disease and all that, what challenges they are facing at the workplace. Are they being, ridiculed or undermined at the workplace and all that? So all these things are there that affect the patient. So that is where I come in. And that is where I want to focus my research on, to help address the evidence gap when it comes to the psychological and the social aspects of living with diabetes. Yeah.
Interesting. So where did that motivation come from? Why did you come about all these things?
Yeah, so it's a bit personal, but I don't want to go into the personal aspect. But the next one, the next motivation had to do with my master's work. So in my master's work, I had to do a review of interventions that are used to kind of help patients with chronic disease adapt to their disease.
Yeah, you've published that. What did you find?
Yes, so in my review, I found that, number one, we don't have such interventions in Africa or in poor parts of Africa. The only African country that has such interventions going on is South Africa, which is a bit more developed than the rest of Africa. I found that there are important ingredients that are part of interventions that can be easily incorporated into the various educational programs we give to our patients who have diabetes, in Ghana. So I felt that maybe if we understand the challenges they go through better, we can kind of modify the existing interventions or educational programs to incorporate some of these psychological and social elements to help them better live well with their disease. Because the disease is not going anywhere. It's a chronic disease. The best thing is to get the best quality of life from the disease and to live well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Mr. Samuel Akyirem, PhD student at Yale University. You can call him Reptile. I mean, he's very happy about that. And thank you very much for being very generous with us. So Paul Luke says, I salute you for the motivation. Kudos for linking a physiological condition to the psychological or psychology needs. Dorcas Opokwajima, your wife, specifically says the anatomy has come. It means you have been teaching anatomy everywhere, on the internet, in the bedroom, everywhere. Thank you very much, Akyirem, for sharing the anatomy everywhere. We are happy to know that. Dr. Yakubu Salifu Sali said, well done. One of my PhD students is doing similar projects. Diabetes distress might be good to connect sometime. Interesting. So Akyirem, of course, our own senior man Sali says, one of his PhD students is in the same line. So please get in touch. Senior Evans from Ponche says, well done, Sami. Rahel Akolia Ome says, Professor Akyirem, so proud of you. More wins. Thank you very much. Solomon Entry says, great show. We are behind time, but just to round up, I mean, one of the very common things you and I had whilst training as nurses in Ghana is tapping sponge the patient, tapping sponge the patient. All of a sudden, you and Akyirem Bossman said you've done a research, a mini review that shows that tapping sponging is not very effective compared to paracetamol as relieving fever in febrile children in hot tropical climates. What was it about? What did you find, and how did you come about that?
Okay, thank you. So just to correct you, we as nurses, we are educated, right? We are not trained. Okay, I just want to clear that out. Yes. One person said that, you know, animals are trained, human beings are educated, right? So I just want to clear that.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, so as part of our nursing education, we were taught, you know, that when patients have high temperatures, you have to apply, you know, tepid water, that is warm water, you know, on the surface of their skin to help them lose heat. And it makes sense. I mean, intuitively, if you think about it, it makes sense. But the evidence shows that in the long term, that is an hour or 2 hours after doing that, patient's temperature, you know, comes back to normal. So it doesn't really help. So our review was to focus on the hospital, right? We understand that when a mother has a sick child and the mother does not have access to paracetamol, tepid sponging can be done. That is, you know, apply warm or tepid water on the surface on the skin surface of the child to help reduce the temperature. That can be done when you have no other option. But in the hospital where you have access to paracetamol, doing that only comes with a lot of consequences for the child. You know, there have been some studies that have shown that it can result in seizures and it can even, it causes a lot of side effects for the child. The child cries a lot, becomes irritable and all that. So why do it? Why are we still doing it? In the UK, they have banned it. In the US, they have banned it. So probably I was thinking that maybe in African countries, maybe it's because the temperature is high, that is why we still think it benefits them. So we focused our review on tropical countries where the temperature is usually high. And we wanted to see if tepid sponging is done in such settings, does it really benefit the child or not? So that is why we did that review. And we found that it's not really beneficial. It's better to just give the child paracetamol and wait for the child to cool down rather than apply, you know, water and let the child cry all day. At home, you can advise mothers to do that because when the mothers do that, they feel they are doing something to help the child. It helps reduce the mother's anxiety about the sick child, and it helps reduce the feeling of helplessness in the mother. That is for the mother. But in the hospital where you have professionals there, there's no need to do that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm very much aware that we've gone over our time. Of course, it's an interesting interview, so you couldn't have done this in an hour. We definitely have another appointment with you. You and Senior Evans Chief Report will come here, but we'll come back and talk about another topic altogether. So thank you very much. But my very final questions, very quick one. Your LinkedIn account says that you are an Android app developer, and your Twitter account also says you are a nurse programmer. What are you into? What do you do?
So I learned a bit of Java and Android programming a while back. I think after I finished my degree, I self-taught myself to do some programming. I did create some apps for nursing students to help them prepare for their license exams. And yeah, but you know, for now, I'm kind of, I've put that aside for a while. I'll go back to it. Yeah, I know I still have my skills. I can still do some 1 or 2 stuff, you know, create some Android apps and all that. But because of, you know, busy schedules and work and stuff, I've put that as it was more of a hobby, for me than an actual enterprise or something. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Boache Daniel Hill says, very informative, Samuel. Cancer patients also go through similar psychological stress, and it is even worse in countries with low health coverage. Would you in the future extend your work to cancer patients, especially patients with prostate, breast, and cervical cancer? That's a very deep one, Dr. Boache Daniels. Yeah, Akyirem.
Yeah, so I think for now, I'm focusing on diabetes because there's a lot to be done on diabetes. But I'm also open to other chronic diseases. Initially, I wanted to do something on hypertension, but yeah, so I'm open to other chronic. Maybe as time goes on, when I finish school and I have bigger grants, to do to go into all those diseases that is mentioned. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Irene Bosman is being a lawyer here. She says, we didn't continue the app because there was no funding for that. So Akyirem, come back to us, bring a proposal, we'll fund the app for you, myself and Irene Bosman. Livingston Edusipoku, my brother, thank you very much for watching. Happy to have you here. He says, great job, Akyirem. Thank you very much, Livingston. Happy to have you here. Yeah, so we are almost finishing, but do you want to talk about mentorship? Throughout this process, it's important, it's instructive to know, have you had one or two people that you've gone to, who have held your hand through the process? What has been the role of mentorship in your journey so far? But that will be my last question to you, if we don't have any question on the chat.
Yes, Precious. So thank you. You got a Commonwealth scholarship, so I talked to you. I got some advice from you. For my PhD, I talked to Stephen Adombire was very helpful. In preparing for the interview and all that. I also spoke to one PhD student at King's College London, who is a Ghanaian. He actually gave me the idea that I should send my personal statement draft to one of the advisors I've spoken with. So at the end of the day, it was a very good idea that I did that. So when I get into some challenges with the application process, I'm always happy to talk to people and get their opinion and their views about how to go about things. I'm also open to helping others. But the thing is, before I can commit myself to help anyone, the person has to show some commitment that he or she is ready to go through it with me, right? Because there are people, excuse me to say this, but maybe the person is watching, but I must say this, like some people will ask you to write their personal statement for them and all that. It's your personal statement, it's like writing myself. So how can I write myself for you, right? So, and when that happens, it shows that you are probably not fully committed to the process. And for that, I will not be able to help you. But if you're able to draft your personal statement and all that, and you ask me to go through and, give you my comments or suggestions, I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to also point you in the right direction for scholarships and other opportunities too, if you get in touch with me.
Amazing. Thank you very, very, very much. We've gone over our time by 15 minutes, but we still have quite a lot of people watching at the moment, and that is quite, impressive. It means that you are much loved by a whole lot of people here, of course, including your wife and any other person watching. And thanks for teaching anatomy everywhere on the internet, in the bedroom, everywhere. Thank you very much. Your wife has just confirmed that. And we appreciate you. We are very happy that you were able to come. And you've been very generous. You've shared a whole lot of things with us. So thank you very much, Mr. Samuel Akyirem, who's a PhD student at Yale University. Our whole interview, as we said from the beginning, can be summarized as from Tabre to Connecticut, Yale University, isn't it? So thank you very much. We are so much happy that we have you here. Do you have any final words? Do you want to say a shout out, give a shout out to your wife? Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we move on?
Yeah, so you've already given the shout out to my wife. Thank you for doing that on my behalf. And I just want to say that there are so many opportunities out there. If you feel you need to go to school, go to school. Don't let anyone tell you what you have to do and what you don't have to do. It's good to listen to advices, but when you feel if you feel you need to go to school, don't let people tell you, oh, work for some time and get experience. You are not using the experience for anything, right? You've identified an area you are interested in, and that is the only experience that will be helpful to you in the future. So focus on that and pursue your academic stuff. And then the last thing is that just have resilience. Note that when you apply for schools or for scholarship, you can be declined. It doesn't reflect on your intelligence or anything. It means that the application pool was tough and you didn't get in. Just go through your essays and improve them and apply the following year. That's all.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We are on behalf of the TDS team, myself and Precious Adadidu as the host, and Mr. James Kobina Opon, who is the executive producer. We say a very big thank you for sitting with us. I personally know you are very tight at the moment, but you still managed to still have this interview at the same time. So we are very much appreciative. Viewers, we've been speaking to Mr. Samuel Akyirem, who is a PhD candidate at Yale University. He shared his life journey with us, and it's very beautiful, very encouraging, inspiring. And we are very hopeful, trusting in God that within few years, definitely he's going to be a global figure. I have no doubt about that. So keep pushing, Sami. God is with you. Keep pushing and keep working hard, of course. I mean, that will be crowned with great success. So thank you for watching, everyone. This show was proudly sponsored by Henbeck Agency. Henbeck is spelled Henbeck Agency. And if you are interested in getting footwear, clothes, watches, bags, and books shipped from any country to you, or you want them to buy and then they will ship that to you, just contact them and they will do a very beautiful job for you. You can contact them on +233 546 022 952. I take that again, +233 546 022 952. Or you can send them an email at henbecktravels@gmail.com, henbecktravels@gmail.com, or just visit their Facebook page at Henbeck Travel Agency. They are the proud sponsors of this program. Thank you very much, Mr. Akyirem, and hope to meet you some other time.